Welcome to Book 2 in the Horrors and Hoagies series, Tortured Souls. In this, we will cover Chapter 19. We encourage you to immerse yourself in the exciting events that unfold. From thrilling action scenes to heart-pumping moments of suspense, Tortured Souls is sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. We appreciate your support and hope that you continue to enjoy the journey we have in store for you. Chapter 19, To Stop a Ritual.
The city was engulfed in an eerie twilight. Dark clouds swirled ominously, forming a menacing vortex above a partially destroyed building near the bayside. The roar of wind and thunder drowned out all sounds except a solitary, haunting howl. Lukeman had gathered his frail followers for the final ceremony. Standing in a circle, they whispered incantations to their sinister deity, Anubis. Lukeman adorned himself with the ceremonial headdress, and the golden image of Anubis descended upon his shoulders. The moment had arrived. Max observed the ceremony from his vantage point on the landing. As he smoked, he nervously flicked open and shut his Zippo lighter. He carefully observed Lukeman as he entered the ritual circle, then subtly motioned for Klaus to join him. Max approached closer and whispered in German.
Prepare the truck. The fool will either triumph or fail in the next few minutes. Regardless, we need to escape before things turn for the worse.
Klaus nodded in agreement before descending the stairs. Klaus hurried down the stairs and out the door, walking to the driver's side of the truck parked by the curb. He pulled out a leather folio from his coat and quickly checked its contents: fake passports, ID cards, and a substantial amount of cash. It was all that remained of Siddiqui's contribution to their cause. With these items, both Thulians could safely escape America and reach the hidden outpost in Canada in hours. Lorenzo gave a gentle tap on the big German's shoulder. He had been frozen in place, fixated on something near the truck. Polina's team of Wolf enforcers had arrived, and he had joined them for the thrill of it, engaging in a friendly competition with the Mongolian.
Excuse me, sir? Do you happen to know the time?
Lorenzo asked, but there was no response. The German, named Klaus, suddenly collapsed onto his back. A fatal bullet had pierced his head, leaving a clean hole through his temples. The assassin remained unseen, leaving Lorenzo to scan the skyline for the culprit.
Hey Polina, did you?
His words were swallowed by a powerful gust of wind. Looking up, he noticed a massive funnel forming in the clouds above. There was no time for small talk now. They were running out of time. He turned back to the blonde. With a nonchalant shrug, she continued walking as an imposing rifle, affectionately known as the old lady, came into view behind her. Lorenzo crossed himself, whispering the villain's last rites before raising his arm in signal. It was time to ruin someone's day. The group arrived fully protected and moved with precise military coordination. Each person had dark lacquered metal strips crisscrossing their bodies and wore flexible jackets for easy movement. They covered their armor with a gray and green cloth for camouflage. The Mongolian stayed a few yards behind as they approached Lukeman's building, his horned bow ready and a quiver of arrows aimed at the city's enemies. Siddiqui followed behind the wolf pack while Polina climbed the building on the opposite side of the street. She had her reliable sniper cannon securely strapped to her back. Lorenzo signaled for Siddiqui to come over while the wolves passed by the truck and headed toward the door. The vampire gestured towards the massive dead body by the truck and asked the chubby man,
Is this Max or Klaus?
Siddiqui stared at the vampire, feeling confused. His eyes involuntarily followed his pointing finger, causing him to nod and widen his eyes.
That's Klaus, sir.
He replied. He fully understood the true nature of his companions now. They were all monsters. It was still difficult for him to accept that these monsters were working to protect the city, not destroy it. After regaining his composure, he tugged on Lorenzo's sleeve and drew him closer.
Your lady friend seemed quite distressed. The windows were too boarded up to have a good view. Is there any way we can remove the obstructions blocking her view?
He gestured towards the boarded windows on the floor of the ritual chamber. Lorenzo glanced up at the windows and nodded.
You got us here. It's time to let loose and have some fun. Find cover anywhere but here.
Sighing to himself, he ran his hands through his hair.
It is not the place to be when the party starts.
Lorenzo grinned, giving Siddiqui a friendly pat on the shoulder before adjusting his attire. Taking the hint, Siddiqui hurried across the street and hid behind a dumpster. The Mongolian stood in silence in front of the old, creaky building. He emitted an aura of death, his eyes fixed on the structure as Lorenzo approached. Ready and eager for battle, the pack tensed like dogs straining against their leashes. With a shared nod, Lorenzo conveyed Polina's request. The Mongolian signaled another member of the pack approach while a wolf retrieved a black grappling hook and unraveled a rope from around his waist. Half of the group followed suit. Lorenzo stood with the remaining pack members, stretching his neck from side to loosen his muscles. The wolves closest to him grew more ferocious, their hungry anticipation evident in their grinning faces. Their already formidable bodies became even more pronounced as thick fur sprouted. Muscles rippled beneath their skin, revealing deadly fangs. With practiced skill, they threw grappling hooks. The sound of tools finding purchase was drowned out by the intensifying storm. Once the lines were taut and the grips secure, the Mongolians' team of wolves swiftly ascended the building. Each leap sent chunks of paint and plaster crashing to the ground below. The two teams were in position, with Polina already lying prone on the roof of the opposing building, weapons at the ready. The Mongolian stood next to Lorenzo, emanating a sense of paternal pride. They hung like spiders, poised to attack. Below them, the Mongolian and his pack began to contort and transform into a more bestial form. Once the transformation was complete, the pack's werewolves were ready for the fight. Suddenly, the Mongolian let out a mighty howl heard for blocks in each direction. Storm be damned. Several of the pack joined in, creating an otherworldly, ear-splitting noise that terrified Siddiqui to his core. As Siddiqui listened, he could hear another baying hound join in from the alley behind him. When he turned to look, he thought he saw a black hound in the shadows, but it vanished while he looked at it. Wolves above and below simultaneously smashed their way into Lukman's hideout. They left splinters and savaged bricks in their wake.